I recently found a recipe for low-calorie bagels on the internet, and I decided I'm gonna give it a try and see what the hype is all about. In this video, I'm gonna show you a mistake that I've made following the recipe, how I fixed it, and you're gonna see the difference that little mistake made to the end result. I'm gonna also share with you a little change that I made to the recipe to make it taste just a little bit better. The list of ingredients for this recipe you're gonna find below in the description box. And let's get started on the bagels. I have to be honest, I was a little bit skeptical about yogurt, egg, and flour making a good bagel. I have to admit though, it was pretty delicious. I cracked one egg, and what I did with this egg, because the recipe calls for egg wash at the end, I reserved just a little bit because this recipe has only 4 bagels, so I didn't need a whole lot of egg to make any difference in the recipe itself if I left a little bit out, and that's what I did. That way I didn't have to crack another egg and waste it. 1 cup non-fat yogurt, and the best yogurt you can use is a Fage because it's very dense. Every yogurt has different consistency, and this one seems to be the thicker one. If you have any other one that is much lighter, much runnier than this one, you can strain it, but you want a thick yogurt. And here I have a cup of flour, actually 5 ounces of flour, you would like to measure it. And to that I added baking powder, 2 teaspoons, and mixed it all together with the flour. I moved the flour to a bigger bowl and added another teaspoon or so of sea salt. If you're using regular table salt, make sure you use less. Next goes in yogurt and the egg. And remember, I left just a little bit for the 4 bagels to be able to put the egg wash on them right before I bake them. Combine all the ingredients until they become one sticky ball. And the dough will be very, very sticky. So now, the mistake I've made on this recipe is that I took the ball out of the bowl and divided it, and I forgot about one very important step, and that's kneading it. So basically here, as you can see, that's all I did. I combined ingredients and I was finished. I just completely omitted that step, but what a difference that kneading for this little dough makes. You're gonna see the difference. So I put the dough on a very well floured surface, and I put a little bit more flour on top because the dough is really, really sticky. And I cut it in fourths. Roll each piece until you can fold it just like this to create a little donut, so to speak. And then pinch it at the end so they can combine. And here you go, this is how they look like. You put them aside on a baking sheet. I preheated the oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. And I put all the 4 of them on a baking sheet and added the leftover very, very small amount of egg wash. So the first time I baked them for 25 minutes in the middle rack of the oven at 350 degrees. And this is how they came out. So these are the ones that I did not need, meaning I just basically put the ingredients all together and created those little bagels. So you see how imperfect they are, how rough the top is of that bagel. They were really good. They were very, very good in taste. They just didn't look that great. So here it is. Look how they look when you open them up from the inside. The texture is pretty good. But also, because of that yogurt, I did taste a little bit of tanginess, which I didn't really care for. So in the next batch that I made of this recipe, I added a little bit of brown sugar, and they were really good, much better. It completely killed the tanginess of the bagel. But if you like it that way, then I mean, you don't have to change it for sure. So this is how they came out, pretty good. But now, this is the difference when you actually knead the dough. And it's, I have to say, it's not easy to knead it when it's so sticky. So I kept adding flour and adding flour to make it manageable. But I did manage to put them all together, and they really came out perfect at this time. Now, another thing that I changed, because I noticed that the first recipe, when they were in the middle of the oven, they just seemed to be very crunchy at the bottom, which again, I didn't care for that either. So this time, when I baked them at 350 degrees as well, but I put my rack all the way to the top of the oven and baked for 25 minutes. And that's how they came out, really nice and brown. They were very smooth because of that kneading here that I'm doing. And also the bottom wasn't as crunchy as the first batch. So I can say the second batch was definitely much better. I mean, you can see from the pictures, they're really good. It is honestly very hard to believe that these are low-calorie, high-protein bagels because they look extremely normal, I would say, if I can use that word, to me. And they were really delicious. I served them with avocado and sunny side up egg. And the second batch I served with salmon, tomato, and cream cheese. If you like this recipe and you would like to see more, don't forget to subscribe.